We are live.
This is the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting. It is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Blyle. Brown.
Here.
Fasella.
Present.
Friedman.
Here.
Nudo.
Here.
Ula.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved.
It's been moved. Second? Second. And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on any topic? Hearing none, we'll be moving on to the next agenda item. Is there a motion to approve the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting minutes from July 30th, 2025, open session?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to communication. Are there any communications from the board? Apparently none, so we'll move on to the managing director's report. Carl?
Thank you. All right, this is a report on July, which is the first month of the fiscal year. So all the year-to-date information is identical to the monthly information, so I'm only going to give you the month information. In July of 2025, the total ridership was 370,000, and that is a 3.1% higher number than last July. And this doesn't often happen, but July of 2025 and July of 2024 had the same number of weekdays, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, etc. So that's a little unusual that it was an identical month. So 3.1% is not a gangbuster increase, but it's healthy. So I think I have I don't know what happened to the charts. I think the year-to-date might come up, but we'll just go by that tech. Or maybe we'll just skip everything. The operating revenue, the July 2025 operating revenue is 3.5% below July of 2024. The operating expenses, the July 2025 operating expenses were 1% above July of 2024. The year-to-date operating revenues were $130,000 below budget, and the operating expenses were $691,000 below budget. And with that, I would just like to say publicly that a member of our staff was just selected in a national mass transit magazine poll that is, I mean, this is on the level of Miss America. It's a very coveted position, and our very own Brendan Sennett, our safety and training director, was selected as one of the nation's 40 under 40 in public transit. So congratulations to Brendan. And following on the heels of that, that's a tough act to follow, but I'm going to invite Kim Seabright up to the table here. Kim is our new Assistant Finance Director, and I just thought I'd give her a moment to introduce herself to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today and for the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Kim Seabright. I recently joined the district as the Assistant Finance Director. I'm really excited to be here and to support the important work the district does for our community. Speak closer. Okay. Is this better? Okay. Just a little bit of my background. I'm a licensed CPA with over 10 years of professional experience. I've built the majority of my career in public accounting, working at several national accounting firms, including one of the Big Four firms in Chicago, serving as their audit manager. During my time in public accounting, I had the privilege of working with a wide range of clients from different industries, which gave me a broader perspective of what sound financial stewardship really looks like. Most recently, I was at the IRS working with large and international corporations, focusing on their federal tax compliance. And in that role, it really deepened my understanding of public sector accountability. So I am eager to apply my skill set here at MTD to really directly benefit the communities that we serve. I truly appreciate the importance of connecting the numbers to the bigger picture, so our leadership and this board have that financial insight needed to really drive the district's mission forward. And I feel very fortunate to be joining such a strong and dedicated team, and thank you for the trust you've placed in me. I'm really looking forward to working alongside all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And with that, I will take any questions that you may have through page 38 of your packet.
Are there any questions for Carl? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our action items. First, we'll be discussing the scheduling adjustment for the December 2025 regular Board of Trustees meeting. Carl?
Yeah, just a little bit of background on this. At the beginning of each calendar year, we publish what the board meetings are going to be throughout the year. And so we're projecting a year ahead. And this year, we have developed a conflict for the December board meeting, but it's kind of an exciting conflict. We have an architectural class with the University of Illinois that is doing a project to kind of a visioning project for the downtown Urbana transit facility, transfer facility. So we're really looking forward to see what those projects are. And with their class schedule, the original date that we had the December board meeting scheduled conflicts with the day that they present their projects. And the instructor has asked us to attend that so that we can rank and rate the projects. And so hopefully we get something out of this class and these projects. And so it's important for us to be there. So we're just we're asking you to delay the board meeting by 1 week from December 3rd to December 10th. Remember, November and December is a little different. We don't have a November board meeting, and then we have a December meeting, but it's early in the month as a combined November-December meeting.
Are there any questions for Carl? Okay, is there a motion to approve the scheduling adjustment for the December 2025 regular Board of Trustees meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Brown,
Yes.
Pasella,
Aye.
Friedman,
Aye.
Nudo,
Yes.
Ula,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Our final action item is to consider the approval of the cooperative purchasing agreement and bus purchase order. Looks like Ashley is going to fill us in here.
Hello. So as stated in your memo, I am here to talk through the purchase of 2 replacement buses. So we are proposing using a $2 million federal community project fund award, formerly known as an earmark, that was set aside in fiscal year '25 for electric buses or hydrogen fuel cell electric buses toward the purchase of one 40-foot hydrogen fuel cell bus and one 60-foot hydrogen fuel cell bus. And these two buses will replace two 40-foot buses from our 2013 fleet that are reaching the end of their useful life this year. I did, in the memo, include some information about the price. The price has escalated pretty significantly since the last time we bought hydrogen buses. For additional context, that price increase reflects about a 25% increase since the last time we bought hydrogen buses in December 2022. And for kind of an additional comparison, believe it or not, that 25% increase is less than the increase we saw between our last two hybrid purchases. So our last two hybrid purchases were about 18 months apart, and there was a 29% increase. And our hydrogen purchases are about 32 months apart, and there's a 25% increase. So just to provide that context, there are increases in components and systems across the board, and that's reflected in our prices here. Thankfully, we do have this $2 million set aside for the purchase. And then just briefly, I'll speak to the cooperative purchasing agreement aspect of this memo. We do not have a set contract for hydrogen fuel cell buses, and so we use a separate state contract. We purchase off the Washington State's cooperative purchasing agreement contract in order to buy these buses without going out for a separate bid for these buses. It helps us save time in the procurement process, and it also helps us get a lower price because it's a cooperative purchasing agreement. It's been vetted by a lot more entities than just us, if that makes sense. So I will be happy to take any questions about this approach for these two replacement buses.
Just out of curiosity, who up in Washington State is running hydrogen buses?
Oh, I couldn't answer that, actually. Their state purchasing department actually has a wide array of bus options that other states can purchase off of. So it's just a system that they've set up that serves the rest of the country when they want to buy 10 or 12 different models of transit buses, not just hydrogen.
George, I will add, I don't think there are any Washington properties that are currently running, but intercity transit in Olympia, Washington is, they've placed an order for vehicles and they are in the process of launching their initial deployment. So in the pretty near future, although I don't know the exact date of their launch, but pretty soon they'll be running fuel cell buses.
Thanks, Carl. Just curious.
Any other questions for Ashley or Carl?
Yeah, another quick question. So this is kind of like a sole source procurement because there is like no other company which supplies this type of buses?
That is correct. Currently, New Flyer is the only manufacturer of hydrogen fuel cell buses that complies with Buy America.
And just as a comment, I'm happy to see 0.6% discount. This was the first time I have seen such an enormous discount, you know. So.
Phil?
All right. I should know all this, but this will put us at 14 buses, right?
That's correct.
And is the timing on this going to be, like, when are these scheduled to arrive, you would think?
They're scheduled to arrive, I think they said they would go into production at the start of Q3 2026, so they should be here in the fall if the schedule doesn't change, but that's pretty preliminary. And maybe to get to your deeper question, our current station can accommodate these extra buses. We've calculated in terms of our capacity of hydrogen production, but this would really max out the station. At that point, we would really not be able to buy any more until we expand.
And we don't have any, do we have a pending order for more hydrogen buses beyond this?
No, not currently.
This is it. These are going to be slightly newer than we are running. How much parts commonality are we going to have? Because these are going to sort of be one-offs. We're going to order these two, and then we're going to have a period of time before we place another order, so we're going to have kind of an odd two. Is that going to throw anything off as far as maintenance?
So according to, and you'll see that in the, not that you read every single page of all of the bus specs that they included in their price quote, but they do give a pretty extensive list of the components included. When we were looking at the price increase, Josh couldn't see any obvious component differences between our last series of 10 40-foots that we ordered. Of course, the 60-foot will be kind of on its own, but the 40-foots will be pretty comparable to the 40-foots that we already have on property.
Phil, if you look at the models of buses as generations, the two 60-foot buses that were our initial fuel cell buses were generation 1, and so this new 60-foot bus is a generation 2 60-foot bus, but other than its length and the differences associated with that, it's identical to the generation 2 40-foot buses that we have. So other than those two 60-foot generation buses, all the other buses are generation 2 fuel cell buses. Same Ballard fuel cells, same drive systems, same battery packs, everything else is the same.
That's great. And we've had pretty good luck with those so far, it sounded like, so yeah, that's good.
So the presentation that we had last time was on the 2035 composition of the buses, and this fits into the big scheme of things.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So with replacing two 40-foot buses with one 40-foot and one 60-foot, is that just because of like a need for an increased capacity bus with increased ridership, or what was the reason for that?
Yeah, the mix of 40-foot and 60-foot buses is a really difficult, tight wire for us to walk. We don't want to have too many 60-footers because, you know, one of the banes of our existence is people complain about seeing a bus that isn't jam-packed to the gills. And so while we have very healthy ridership in comparison to our peers and communities much, much larger than ours, it is not untrue that sometimes we drive a bus from one point to another with just a handful of people on it. And so a handful of people on a 40-foot bus is one thing, but a handful of people on a 60-foot bus is another. So we really try to reserve those vehicles, the larger vehicles, for the primarily the campus-oriented routes that are just, you know, packed. And so we want to have those buses for those routes, but we don't want to run those generally in the community routes when we don't have to. Now that school is back in service, we've been getting a couple of complaints about, you know, I ride the yellow bus in the morning, and it's a 40-foot bus, and I can't get a seat, and I can barely stand on it. There are so many people, and I see that route over there. They get a 60-foot bus. Why don't I? Well, we only have so many. And so we're trying to just nudge it a little bit with an increase of an additional 60-footer to help maintenance and operations with that balance. But we don't want to do a wholesale change because it's just too big of a bite at the apple at one time. So we're nibbling away at it one 60-foot bus at a time.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also just note our recent order of 8 expansion buses was all 40-foots, and so this additional 1 60-foot helps balance out the amount of backups we have when we need to do routine maintenance.
Other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve the cooperative purchasing agreement and bus purchase order?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Brown,
Yes.
Fasella,
Aye.
Friedman. Aye. Nudo,
Yes?
Ula,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be an annexation public hearing on Thursday, September 4th, 2025, from 5 to 6 p.m. at Friendship Lutheran Church of Joy, which is located at 3601 South Duncan Road, Champaign. The next regular Board of Trustees meeting will be on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, at 3 p.m. right here at the Illinois Terminal, 45 East University in Champaign. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.